Now that they have taken care of the guy who should have been the MVP of Super Bowl 56, they may need to take care of the guy who actually was the MVP of Super Bowl 56. Cooper Kupp would like a contract that, as he says it via The Athletic, it has to, quote, be something that makes sense for everyone, and, quote, I try to help where I can. I don't want to be in the dark on this thing. I love this organization. I want to be here for a very long time. I want this to be something that makes sense for everyone. I want them to feel good about it, and I think the best way to do that is for me to at least be involved in some capacity. It's never going to be at the cost of anything on the football field, but more communication, the better. We'll be able to find a place where we can all feel good. And that makes even more sense after we consider what we heard from Sean McVay. It's a very pragmatic, let's figure this out. Let's not have this fall apart because we have miscommunications or misunderstandings. Let's sit down and do this. You want to be here. We want you here. We understand the value they bring to the table. We're not going to dick around. Sorry. We're going to get this done.
That was a new one.
And I'm sorry, but we're going to get this done. and sorry. And that's what they did with Donald.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, at some point, Cooper Kupp's got to say, what about me?
Yeah.
What about me?
No doubt. Got to.
Making $15.75 million per year, 18th among all receivers. Yeah, that is something that needs to be addressed by the LA Rams. And if you take, just like we said about Donald, hey, they already took care of Stafford. When are they going to take care of Donald? Well, now they're taking care of Stafford and Donald. When are they going to take care of Kupp?
Yeah, that's
part of the reality of having a great team.
I know.
You got to find a way. It says F them picks on the front of the shirt. It says F that cap on the back of the shirt. You got to figure out a way to make it all work under the cap.
Yeah, you're right. Got to make it work. I mean, you got to think Cooper Kupp's got to be sitting there going, well, they got to pay him north of $20 million. I mean, we know that. That's got to happen. He's too awesome. I mean, one, he's got a special connection with Matthew Stafford. You see, again, hey, it's another example of support system and stuff like that matter. Cooper Kupp, what did he look like this year? A different receiver. Why? Because he had a quarterback that could throw balls to him that he didn't have the first part of his career. So all of a sudden we saw a different part of his skill set to go, whoa, this guy can stretch the field and he can catch the ball over the middle and outrun people for 30, 40 yards down the middle of the field. Yes, that's the Matthew Stafford effect. And then, of course, he has great effect on the offense overall because he's the kind of can-do-it-all guy. McVay orchestrates a lot of the game plan passing-wise around him, and then Cooper Kupp's ability to read the coverages off of it to where they're never wrong. Hey, if it's cover 2, go out. If it's cover 1, go in. And he's never wrong, really. So that he's got a great value to the football team, let alone he's a great physical talent. And then again, I'm going to go back to something we said already. I don't think it can be quite talked about enough. We're in the NFL right now where we can go through teams everywhere where it seems like communication is lost a little bit, and we get to these situations and, there's a separation and the wiping of Instagram, and I'm not going to come around to OTAs. And that's, again, where I'll bring it back to McVay. See, they get ahead of these things like you're talking about, and they don't let it the silence fester for too long. They start to have the conversation. They address it head on like you've discussed, and that makes the players less antsy. And then they're willing to, wait, we're going to get it done. And they keep talking to me, and everything they're saying makes sense, and they're being honest and all that. Hey, I'll come to OTAs even though I don't have a new deal. And that's where the Rams are magical. And that's where, to me, it's the McVay magic there. The ability to keep all these guys happy and content through the communication like you've discussed is very, very special. It really is.
The other reality, though, as they pay Matthew Stafford, pay Aaron Donald, get ready, presumably, to pay Cooper Kupp, this underscores a concern that you and I have had for the Rams for a while. And it puts a greater premium on the ability of Les Snead and Sean McVay and company to hit on the later rounds of the draft, because you get your roster too top-heavy from a salary standpoint where you can't afford to have mid-level players who are veterans who can step right in if someone's injured. You're relying on youngsters to figure it out quickly, to learn it quickly, to maybe grow just by osmosis from being around all of these other great players and rising to the level but being ready to go. You get guys injured, there could be a big drop-off in talent from starter to backup because all your cap money is going to Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald and Matthew Stafford and now Cooper Kupp and
Jalen
who
Ramsey.
else am I missing? I mentioned Jalen Ramsey.
Sorry, Allen Robinson.
They got Bobby Wagner. They got Allen Robinson.
Right, Leonard Floyd's being paid big money.
Yeah. So you've got to be able to trust your ability to find players in the later rounds of the draft at a very cheap, relatively speaking, salary, and also undrafted players and maybe veterans who just fall into your laps that you get for a bargain, like an Odell Beckham Jr., although they ended up having to pay him every penny of his incentives because they were team-based and they won the Super Bowl. But still, that's the blend, that's the mix. But you got to have the backups who are good enough to play because the injuries are going to happen. When the injuries happen, what happens to your team? And that needs to be mentioned because they're getting even more top-heavy. It's like they're building that Jenga tower. You know, and that Jenga tower keeps getting higher and higher, and you're getting fewer and fewer blocks at the foundation. You got to be sure that those blocks hold because you're really stretching it more than you should. You're taking some risks here, calculated risks that your roster's going to hold up if your stars get injured.
Yeah, it's the risk, and they've gotten away with it somehow, some way. And again, I think that again speaks to a little bit of the organization and McVay and his ability to have the right pulse of how to push guys, the workout regimen. Let's not practice that hard today. Let's lift weights hard, and we'll just have a walkthrough. He's got a special feel for that too. And you're right. I mean, it's a dicey approach. It is. It's risky. It's a calculated risk. Yeah, they lose Aaron Donald on the defensive side of the ball. Not only are they they don't have great depth behind it, and of course it's going to be a huge drop-off in talent, and you can kind of see that across the board. That's what makes the Rams unique. The Rams are the way the team is built, and then the way they play, which is not overly all the time oh my gosh, this is the most creative schemes I've ever seen in my life. They got all the things you need in football with a little splash of creativity. But then when it comes big games, they go, okay, hey, we're going to be sound and we'll have a good game plan. And then we expect those guys that we're paying $25 million a year, you guys make some stuff happen today. It's start time. It's the playoffs. It's in December. It's time to go that way. And that's what kind of makes them cool. But, to your point, it's risky. It definitely is. 2 or 3 injuries to the Rams could really affect their football team in a way that, would affect them more than most teams in football.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.